The rumble of dozens of motorcycles echoes through the quiet suburban street, their engines creating a thunderous symphony that makes windows vibrate and hearts race. Gloria Thomas stands at her front door, her hands trembling as she watches an army of leather-clad bikers roll toward her house. What you're about to hear will shock you, because this incredible story began with nothing more than $23 at a gas station. Just 2 days earlier, Gloria was living her ordinary life as a dedicated nurse at Mercy General Hospital, rushing between patients while mentally calculating whether she could stretch her paycheck. Until Friday, the bills were piling up again, and her son Jamal needed new school supplies. She had pulled into Murphy's gas station on Elm Street after another exhausting 12-hour shift, her scrubs still smelling like disinfectant and her feet aching in worn sneakers. As Gloria fumbled for her debit card, she noticed a commotion near Pump 3. A massive man in leather was standing beside a gleaming Harley-Davidson, his weathered face twisted with frustration. His patch read Hell's Angels across his back, and the name Steele was embroidered above his heart. Jake Steele Johnson was going through his pockets frantically, turning them inside out with increasing desperation. "Damn it," Jake muttered, his voice gravelly from years of cigarettes and road dust. "Where the hell is my wallet?" Gloria watched as this intimidating figure suddenly seemed vulnerable, almost childlike in his panic. She had seen that look before in the hospital, when patients realized they were truly helpless, despite every instinct telling her to mind her own business. Despite the stories she'd heard about biker gangs, something deeper stirred in her chest. But what happened next shocked everyone who knew Gloria's usually cautious nature. She approached Jake slowly, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Excuse me," she said softly, her voice barely audible over the traffic. "Is everything okay?" Jake looked up, his steel-gray eyes meeting hers with surprise. Most people crossed the street when they saw him coming, but here was this petite woman in hospital scrubs, looking at him with genuine concern. "My wallet's gone," he said, his tough exterior cracking slightly. "Must have fallen out somewhere on the road. Tank's bone dry, and I got nowhere to go." Gloria glanced at the gas pump display showing $23.47. It was money she couldn't really spare, money that was supposed to buy groceries for the week. But something about this moment felt bigger than her budget concerns. "How much do you need?" she asked. Jake stared at her in disbelief. "Lady, you don't understand. I'm talking about $23 here. That's not pocket change." "I know exactly what $23 means," Gloria replied, already pulling out her card. "But everyone deserves help when they're stuck." Little did Gloria know that this simple act of kindness would set in motion a chain of events that would change her entire neighborhood forever. As the pump filled Jake's tank, he kept stealing glances at her, as if he couldn't quite believe what was happening. When the clicking stopped, he turned to face her fully. "Ma'am, I don't even know your name, but what you just did." His voice trailed off, and for a moment, this hardened biker looked almost emotional. "People don't usually give folks like me the time of day, let alone help us out." "Gloria Thomas," she said, extending her hand. "And everyone deserves dignity." Jake shook her hand with surprising gentleness. "Jake Johnson, but everyone calls me Steele. And I want you to know something, Gloria Thomas. We don't forget kindness. Ever." There was something in his tone, an intensity that made Gloria's stomach flutter with uncertainty. This wasn't just gratitude. It was something deeper, something that felt like an oath. "Really, it's no big deal," Gloria said, but Jake was already shaking his head. "No, it is a big deal. You'll understand soon enough." He climbed onto his bike, the engine roaring to life. "Take care of yourself, Gloria, and thank you." As Jake rode away, Gloria couldn't shake the feeling that she had just stepped into something much larger than a simple good deed. This decision would change everything, though she had no way of knowing it yet. That evening, as Gloria was helping Jamal with his homework at their kitchen table, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the caller ID and nearly dropped the device. The screen displayed Steele, Hell's Angels MC. Her blood ran cold as the phone continued to ring, the sound suddenly seeming ominous in the quiet house. Jamal looked up from his math problems, concern creeping across his young face. "Mom, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." Gloria stared at the phone, her finger hovering over the answer button. But the real shock was still coming. The phone rang one final time before falling silent, leaving Gloria in the suffocating quiet of her kitchen, wondering what she had gotten herself into. Gloria's hand trembles as she stares at the caller ID displaying Biker Gang HQ. The phone continues buzzing insistently in her palm. After 3 rings, she finally swipes to answer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Hello, Gloria. This is Jake from the gas station yesterday." His deep voice carries through the speaker, surprisingly gentle. "I wanted to thank you again for what you did. Not many people would have helped a stranger like me." She clutches the phone tighter, pacing her small living room. "It was nothing, really. Anyone would have done the same." "No, they wouldn't have." Jake's tone grows more serious. "Listen, I don't forget kindness like that. I'm gonna make sure you're repaid for what you did. That's a promise." The intensity in his voice sends chills down Gloria's spine. "That's not necessary. I didn't do it expecting anything back. I know you didn't. That's exactly why it matters." The line goes quiet for a moment. "Take care of yourself, Gloria Thomas. We'll be in touch." The call ends, leaving Gloria staring at her phone with growing unease. How does he know her full name? She never told him that. Meanwhile, at Jefferson High School, her 17-year-old son Jamal navigates through crowded hallways, his backpack slung over one shoulder. He spots Miles Henderson, the new transfer student, sitting alone at lunch again. Something about the quiet kid draws Jamal, and maybe it's the way other students seem to avoid him, or the guarded look in his eyes. "Mind if I sit?" Jamal asks, sliding his lunch tray across from Miles. Miles looks up, surprised. "You sure you want to do that? People might start talking." "Let them talk." Jamal unwraps his sandwich. "I'm Jamal Thomas. You're Miles, right?" "Yeah." Miles relaxes slightly. "Thanks, man. It's been rough being the new guy." As their friendship begins to bloom, Jamal notices how Miles flinches whenever loud motorcycles pass by the school. There's something haunted in his expression that Jamal can't quite place. Back at home that evening, Gloria's phone rings again. This time, no caller ID appears, just a blocked number. She hesitates before answering. "Hello." Heavy breathing fills the line before it goes dead. Her heart pounds as she locks all the doors and windows, drawing the curtains tight. The next morning at County General Hospital, Gloria confides in her colleague Angela Morris during their break. Angela, a seasoned nurse with silver streaks in her hair, listens intently as Gloria describes the strange calls. "Girl, you need to be careful," Angela warns, stirring her coffee. "My neighbor's been saying there's been more bikers around the neighborhood lately, ever since someone helped one of them out at Miller's gas station." Gloria's blood runs cold. "What do you mean?" Word travels fast in their world. When someone shows them respect, they don't forget it. Question is, what are they planning to do about it? The conversation is interrupted when a group of teenagers rushes past their table, one of them shoving another hard against the vending machine. Without thinking, Jamal steps between them, helping the smaller kid to his feet. "Back off, Marcus," Jamal says firmly to the aggressor. "Pick on someone your own size." Miles appears beside him, his presence somehow making the bully think twice. Marcus sneers but walks away, muttering threats under his breath. "You didn't have to do that," the younger student says gratefully. "Yeah, we did," Miles replies quietly, his eyes following Marcus down the hall with an intensity that surprises Jamal. That evening, Gloria's restless sleep is shattered by the rumble of motorcycle engines outside her window. She peers through the blinds and sees 3 bikers slowly cruising past her house, their headlights cutting through the pre-dawn darkness. They're not speeding, they're patrolling, watching. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "Sleep well, Gloria. You're safe now." The bikers disappear around the corner, leaving Gloria wide awake and wondering what she's gotten herself into. As the first rays of sunlight filter through her curtains, one terrifying thought consumes her mind. What if helping Jake was the biggest mistake of her life? The morning sun cast long shadows across Gloria's front yard as she stood at her kitchen window, coffee cup trembling slightly in her hands. The events of the past few days had left her nerves frayed, and Angela's words from their hospital shift kept echoing in her mind. "Girl, you need to be careful," Angela had warned her just yesterday, pulling Gloria aside during their break. Word on the street is that ever since you helped that biker, there's been more of them riding through these neighborhoods. People are starting to talk. Gloria had tried to dismiss Angela's concerns, but the doubt had already taken root. What if her simple act of kindness had somehow marked her family as targets? What if she'd inadvertently invited danger into their peaceful lives? The sound of Jamal's laughter from upstairs provided a brief moment of normalcy, but even that carried new worries. His friendship with Miles had grown stronger each day, and while Gloria wanted to support her son's social connections, something about the timing felt unsettling. Miles was a good kid, but there were shadows in his past that he hadn't fully shared, and Gloria couldn't shake the feeling that everything was somehow connected. A sharp knock at the front door jolted her from her thoughts. Through the peephole, she saw a young white man in his 30s, notepad in hand, looking around nervously at the neighborhood. "Mrs. Thomas," he said when she opened the door cautiously. "I'm Ethan Brooks from the Metro Tribune. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions about the recent increase in motorcycle activity in your area." Gloria's stomach dropped. "I'm sorry, what?" "Well, residents have been reporting more bikers in the neighborhood lately, and I'm trying to piece together what might have caused the sudden interest in your street." Ethan's eager expression made Gloria's skin crawl. "Some folks mentioned seeing you interact with one of them at a gas station." "I don't know what you're talking about," Gloria said firmly, moving to close the door. But Ethan stepped forward. "Mrs. Thomas, if there's some kind of story here about community relations or gang activity, the public has a right to know. Are you feeling safe? Do you need protection?" Before Gloria could respond, the deep rumble of a motorcycle engine cut through the morning air. Both she and Ethan turned to see Jake's familiar Harley pulling into her driveway, the chrome gleaming in the sunlight. Ethan's eyes lit up like he'd hit the jackpot. "Is this one of them now?" Jake removed his helmet, his weathered face breaking into what he probably thought was a reassuring smile. But Gloria felt a chill run down her spine. The reporter was already scribbling notes frantically. "Gloria," Jake called out, walking toward them with deliberate slowness. "Hope you don't mind me stopping by. Wanted to thank you properly for what you did." "This is perfect," Ethan whispered excitedly. "Could you tell me about your relationship with Mrs. Thomas here?" Jake's expression darkened as he noticed the reporter. "Who's this guy?" "Nobody," Gloria said quickly. "Mr. Brooks was just leaving." But Ethan wasn't deterred. "Actually, I'm investigating the increased biker presence in this neighborhood. Are you part of a larger group that's been—" "Listen here, newsboy," Jake's voice carried a dangerous edge. "You might want to find yourself another story to chase." The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Gloria felt trapped between Jake's intimidating presence and Ethan's invasive questions, wishing she could disappear entirely. "Mrs. Thomas," Jake continued, his tone softening as he addressed her directly, "I wanted to let you know that you and your family are under our protection now. What you did for me, that kind of kindness deserves to be repaid." Those words hit Gloria like a physical blow. Protection. The way Jake said it made her blood run cold. What did that even mean? Were they watching her house? Following Jamal to school? "I don't need protection," she managed to say, her voice barely steady. Jake's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Sometimes we don't know we need it until it's too late. The world can be a dangerous place, especially for good people like you." Ethan was writing furiously, clearly sensing he'd stumbled onto something bigger than a simple neighborhood story. Gloria could practically see tomorrow's headlines. "Local nurse under biker gang protection or worse." "I think you should leave," Gloria said, addressing both men. "Both of you." Jake nodded slowly. "Of course. But Gloria, remember what I said. You've got friends now, whether you realize it or not." As Jake climbed back onto his bike, Ethan continued pestering Gloria with questions until she finally slammed the door. Through the window, she watched the reporter take photos of Jake driving away, her heart pounding with the realization that her simple act of kindness had somehow spiraled completely out of control. What she didn't know was that Jake's visit was just the beginning, and by tomorrow morning, her quiet suburban street would be transformed in ways she never could have imagined. Jake's weathered face softened as he looked directly into Gloria's eyes. the morning sun casting long shadows across her front porch. "Ma'am, I need you to understand something," he said, his voice carrying a gravity that made her heart race. "When I said protection, I didn't mean what you think I meant." Gloria crossed her arms, her nurse's instincts telling her to trust, but her mother's intuition screaming caution. "Then what exactly did you mean, Jake? Because having bikers riding past my house at dawn isn't exactly making me feel safe. My little brother was killed 3 years ago." Jake's voice cracked slightly. "Shot down in cold blood by some gang members who thought he was someone else. Miles is his son." The revelation hit Gloria like a physical blow. "Miles? You mean Jamal's friend Miles? That boy's been bounced around foster homes ever since. When I heard he was getting picked on at school, that some kid stepped in to help him." Jake paused, studying her face. "That kid was your son, wasn't it?" Gloria's legs felt weak. Everything was connected in ways she never could have imagined. "Jake, I had no idea." But before Jake could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from Jamal. "Mom, they're trying to expel Miles. The principal said his family connections make him a threat to other students. This is so unfair." Gloria's hands shook as she showed Jake the message. His jaw tightened, and she could see the storm building behind his eyes. "This is exactly why I wanted to repay your kindness," he said. "People like Miles, people like me, we don't get many folks willing to see past the surface." The sound of approaching motorcycles grew louder, and Gloria watched as Jake's phone lit up with incoming calls. He glanced at it, then back at her. "They're coming whether I tell them to or not." Word spreads fast in our community when someone shows genuine kindness to one of our own. "How many are coming?" Gloria asked, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Probably the whole chapter. Maybe more." Jake's honesty was both refreshing and terrifying. "But Gloria, I need you to trust me. What's about to happen isn't what you think." Mrs. Henderson from across the street had already positioned herself at her window, phone in hand, probably calling the police. Gloria could see curtains twitching up and down the block as neighbors became aware of the growing rumble of engines. "Jake, my neighbors are scared. My son's at school dealing with this situation with Miles. I don't know if I can handle whatever's about to happen here." "You won't have to handle it alone," Jake said firmly. "That's the whole point." The first wave of motorcycles turned onto her street, their chrome gleaming in the morning light. Gloria counted 12, then 15, then stopped counting as more kept coming. The sound was deafening, shaking windows and setting off car alarms. But something strange was happening. As each bike pulled up, the riders were shutting off their engines in an organized fashion, creating an almost ceremonial silence. Gloria watched in amazement as men and women in leather jackets began unpacking what looked like grilling equipment. "Jake, what in the world is going on?" His weathered face broke into the first genuine smile she'd seen from him. "We're throwing you a block party, ma'am. To say thank you properly." "A block party?" Gloria's voice pitched higher with disbelief. "You showed kindness to a stranger when you didn't have to. Where I come from, that's worth celebrating." Jake gestured toward his fellow bikers, who were now setting up tables and coolers with military precision. "Plus, we figured it was time this neighborhood got to know us as people instead of just rumors and stereotypes." Gloria watched as one biker approached her elderly neighbor, Mr. Peterson, who'd been standing frozen on his porch. Instead of intimidation, she witnessed the biker politely asking if he could use the water spigot. The transformation in Mr. Peterson's posture from fear to curiosity was remarkable. But even as this heartwarming scene unfolded, Gloria's phone rang again. The caller ID made her blood run cold. Lincoln High School, principal's office. "Mrs. Thomas, I need you to come in immediately regarding an incident involving your son and the Miles situation. There's been a development that requires immediate attention." As Gloria hung up, she realized the day that had started with such promise was about to take another unexpected turn. The rumbling grows louder, and Gloria's heart pounds as she peers through her living room curtains. Dozens of motorcycles line her quiet suburban street, their chrome gleaming in the afternoon sun. Her neighbors emerge from their houses, some recording with their phones, others calling the police. The sight is both magnificent and terrifying, leather-clad figures dismounting their bikes with military precision. Jake steps forward, removing his helmet, his weathered face breaking into a genuine smile. Behind him, men and women of all ages begin unloading something unexpected from their bikes: folding tables, coolers, grills, and bags of groceries. Gloria's mouth falls open in disbelief. "Mrs. Thomas," Jake calls out, his voice carrying across the yard. "We brought lunch." The transformation is instantaneous and breathtaking. What moments before appeared to be an intimidating show of force reveals itself as the most elaborate thank you gesture Gloria has ever witnessed. The bikers work with practiced efficiency, setting up a full barbecue spread on her front lawn. Children from the neighborhood cautiously approach, drawn by the aroma of grilling burgers and the sight of tough-looking bikers, wearing aprons with sayings like "Kiss the Cook" and "Dad's Grill." Jamal emerges from the house, his eyes wide with wonder. Miles appears beside him, his face lighting up as he recognizes several of the bikers. "That's my Uncle Rico," he whispers, pointing to a burly man flipping burgers. "And that's my cousin Maria." The pieces of Miles' mysterious past finally fall into place's family connection. To Jake's extended biker family explains everything. Gloria steps outside, still processing the scene. Jake approaches her with a plate of food and a sheepish grin. "I know this probably seems crazy, but where I come from, when someone shows you kindness, you show it back tenfold. You didn't just pay for my gas that day you saw me as human when most people cross the street." Tears well up in Gloria's eyes as she looks around her transformed front yard. Mrs. Patterson from next door, who clutches her purse whenever she sees teenagers walking by, is now laughing with a biker who's teaching her grandson how to properly flip a burger. The Henderson family, who rarely venture outside, have brought lawn chairs and are deep in conversation with several club members about motorcycle maintenance. "I was so scared," Gloria admits to Jake, accepting the plate. "I thought you were here to intimidate us or collect some debt I didn't know I owed." Jake's expression grows serious. "I understand. We know what people think when they see us rolling up. But kindness deserves kindness, Mrs. Thomas. You showed me respect when I was at my lowest point. My wallet was stolen, my bike was empty, and I was stranded. You could have walked away, but you didn't. That means something." As the afternoon unfolds, the barriers between communities dissolve. The bikers share stories of their regular charity rides, their annual toy drives, and their dedication to supporting local veterans. Gloria learns that Jake is a retired mechanic who now volunteers at a youth center, teaching kids motorcycle repair as a way to keep them off the streets. Angela arrives with her family, initially hesitant, but quickly warming up as a biker named Thunder, a gentle giant with kind eyes, helps her youngest daughter learn to throw a football. "I can't believe I was worried about having these people in our neighborhood," she whispers to Gloria. "They're wonderful." The reporter, Ethan, shows up with his camera crew, expecting to document a threatening situation. Instead, he finds himself interviewing kids about their new biker friends and capturing footage of Mr. Rodriguez, an elderly veteran, sharing war stories with club members who served in Afghanistan. As evening approaches and the impromptu block party winds down, Jake gathers everyone around. "Mrs. Thomas, on behalf of the Steel Wolves MC and our extended family, we want you to know that this neighborhood is under our protection, not because we're trying to control anything, but because you've shown us that good people deserve to feel safe." He presents Gloria with a custom-made leather jacket, not the intimidating kind she might expect, but a beautiful piece with delicate floral embroidery and her initials. "Your honorary family now," he declares, and the entire crowd erupts in cheers. Later, as the bikers pack up their gear with the same efficiency they'd shown in setting up, neighbors exchange phone numbers and make plans for future gatherings. Miles finds the courage to approach Gloria directly. "Thank you for not judging me when you found out about my family connections. You gave me a chance when the school was ready to write me off." Standing in her doorway that evening, watching the last motorcycle disappear around the corner, Gloria reflects on the day's extraordinary events. Her simple act of paying $20 for gas had blossomed into something beautiful and transformative, a reminder that kindness ripples outward in ways we can never predict. Jamal wraps his arm around his mother's shoulder. "Mom, you literally changed our whole neighborhood today. All because you helped someone who needed it." Gloria smiles, fingering the soft leather of her new jacket. Sometimes the most profound transformations begin with the smallest gestures. Her act of kindness hadn't just helped Jake that day at the gas station, it had bridged worlds, shattered stereotypes, and created a community where none had existed before. The lesson is universal and powerful. We are all more alike than different, and kindness, however small, has the power to transform lives in ways we never imagined possible.